And we should be live. Welcome to another one of our weekly streams. Today we're going to be doing it a little bit short because I would like to actually be able to finish up the video for you guys. The next one in my series about daily and weekly vendors, where we will see Anona Wine Drummer among other ones. And to make sure that I get that up, I'm a little bit behind my schedule here. I'd like to spend some more of today actually getting that editing done, which means that I will do a shorter stream, a couple of hours at most. But I do want to get through those most important parts of the weekly quest lines. And the first part of that, since we have a daily that is Temple of Phoebe in our strike missions, we are going to do the Cosmic Observatory challenge mode and Temple of Phoebe. And then we are probably going to switch over to do the Fractals, since Fractals are always a great money-making measure. Yeah. So let's start by going to the Wizard's Tower. Let's see which one it is that I do this one again. Can I not go directly to the Wizard's Tower when I have done this? There we go. Wizard's Tower. I'm still getting used to the new gizmo for traveling between maps. I have been used to using that. I've been used to using the teleport to Wizard's Tower directly scroll, and I know that the map also has a teleport that takes you to Janthea Shore, Lowland Shore it's called, instead of, which is, I guess, not in Secrets of the Obscure, so both of them should be available. Oh well, either way, let's get started. We are going to block out this a little bit so that people can't see the friend list. And then we're going to move this back up here. And then we are just gonna start up our squad. I think we're going to be a Catmander today. Raid mode. Strike missions, experienced. COCM plus TOF NM. We need 2 heal. One of them needs to be... 2 of them needs to be Alak, and one of them needs to be quickness. This squad is being chill streamed over at Mook Chivalry, so that people know what they're getting themselves into. And that should be good. I have the right amount of people. There we go. Going to move ourselves to group 2. And then we're going to figure out what we're going to do as an activity while we wait for people to join. We might just... Honestly, I'll probably do the standard chest run over here. I like getting those done. They are pretty gold efficient, in my own opinion. So, making sure to simply run through the greater arcane chests in the different Secrets of the Obscure zones makes it a lot easier to just make a little bit of gold on the side. There's already a commander in this map. I can see that they are actually preparing to do the last part of the meta event over here. That's also something to keep in mind when doing this. What are the weekly meta events? Especially if you have, like I have right now, the PvE focused Wizard's Vault thingy-mabobs. What are they called? Weekly missions, daily weekly missions. Yeah, Dragon's Stand is the one for this week. It's also one that might be worth looking into. Oh, misclicked that. Oop. We have another chest over here at the edge. I sometimes forget which edge exactly. Oh, it's over there. For things like grouping up and doing these things, I kind of wish that you could do a command attack but hidden, so that I could not stand out on the map in case people randomly join because they believe I'm helping with the meta or something like that, so that only people who were looking for me in the group finder could actually find me, but it's generally okay. It does get a little confusing sometimes. I have had people join, I think we had that last week, we had a couple of people join who weren't actually... who were actually doing the meta events in the map. Hold on a second. We had some problems with Twitch as well last time. So I'm just gonna check really quickly that we are actually doing okay over on Twitch, that they aren't putting us off in some weird way. No, it seems to be fine. And on YouTube, it seems to be fine as well. Good. There we go. We had a little bit of trouble last time because... Oh, I need to get this one. Because Twitch and YouTube want different amount of kilobytes per second streaming rates. So I had set my streaming rates to what YouTube recommended, which is higher than Twitch allows. So the Twitch stream last time was just completely cut out because Twitch said, you are above the limit that we want you to be, so we are going to just not accept your incoming data package. Oh, perfect. We have our first joiner here. Welcome, smiley and hearts. And that's an alacrity healer, which means we can just really quickly... Oh, not you. You. Really quickly update this. To say now we just need one heal, one alac, and one quick. Oop. There we go. Ooh, another person joined. That's great. Love it when that happens that quick. Okay, welcome. Let's have you a heal for... Leave the DBS. And once again... I am clicking all of the things and not always the things that I need to be clicking. Boom, yes. There we go.
Nice gear.
Oh, I completely forgot to ask for kill proof or to watch Muglock's Get to the Point video. It's fine. At least we'll find out how decent a group forms without setting any requirements whatsoever. I bet you we'll be just fine anyways. The first person who joined did link their kill proof anyways, as I think it's just people are so used to that being the customary thing to do. The Mithril ore here won't be worth it, but you actually get a lot of value from just harvesting anything as long as you have the volatile magic tools equipped. So I like to do that anyways, just to make sure that we grab it all. And of course what we're doing right now, in case someone just joined, is We are just doing a little bit of random gathering and stuff while we're waiting for our group to actually form so that we can start doing the challenge mode of Cosmic Observatory. And after Cosmic Observatory, we are going to be going Temple of Phoebe as well. We are not going to do challenge mode Temple of Phoebe, just normal mode Temple of Phoebe. And then we're probably going to switch over to Fractals from there. If anybody wants to join, my group is up right now, and you should feel free to. Even if you don't have a lot of experience, you can just watch. Muckluck has a really good video on YouTube that I recommend anyone to watch called Get to the Point, Cosmic Observatory Challenge Mode, something something. If you just write Get to the Point, COCM, Muckluck, it'll come up. Oh, perfect. Hey, welcome. And that's Hot Owl, that's the 80 PS. We're going to put this guy here. Go Q here then. Hard, and we are going to just really quickly hide my friends list again. There we go. And go and say we just need DPS from now. Yeah, welcome. Can you pure DPS Tion? We just had an A DPS join before we... Thanks. More less than 3s in chat. More hearts. Always good to let people know that you are in good spirits, in good mood. Nobody is doing anything wrong. We are happy for everyone around. That's a necromancer that just joined. We'll put those in the other group. There's DPS. Hey, welcome. Where's the... There it is. That's another necromancer. We'll just take that into our group. I'll never really get people... One of the people who just joined just linked 82 kill proof, 82 unopened loot boxes from the boss here. It's just... That's so much unopened loot. That's so much gold and stuff that you could be having for yourself.
All these tendrils are sucking up the land's
and we are
natural
full,
magic
so we are
and
going to
feeding
be
it to
going back
Eborg's
to
biggest
Wizard's Tower. And then we're going to start out with the Cosmic Observatory Challenge Mode. I think that's going to be good. Always do the most difficult content first, because then you know that you have people for the important parts. Then if somebody leaves, it's fine. You know, between the challenge mode and the normal mode. Should be just fine. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Welcome, smiling. And ploop, and ploop. Oh, challenge, nope. Ah, already active. My bad. Let's do a little ready check for people.
Sharp mind.
We also have one person who still needs to come in here. That's going to be fine. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about what we are doing while we're fighting the boss, in case you feel like you might not have the experience to take it on yourself. I can tell you that you probably do. Because honestly, the challenge mode for this boss isn't all that difficult. It's pretty straightforward. There are some mechanics you have to be aware of to do it, but as soon as you're aware of the mechanics and how they look, you will probably do fine in case you are actually going to be fighting the boss at some point yourself. Also, there is a DPS check. You have to be doing enough DPS to kill the boss within 10 minutes, but honestly, I've had a person die like some of the first time, like within the first minute of the boss fight, and we still beat the entire boss with time to go. So I wouldn't be worried about that, as long as everybody has decent builds that are made for what they're supposed to do. You should be golden. I hope I'm actually practicing what I preach here. I'm just gonna shit my build. Okay, I have the Deathly Haste on. Sometimes when I'm asked to simply DPS, I pick out... There we go. Sometimes when I'm asked to simply DPS, I end up picking out another talent than Deathly Haste and just doing that little tweak in my build to make more DPS and stop giving quickness, because that's just a simple way to change the build without having to change too much. And oop. There we go. And the unfortunate thing about that is that it can be easy to forget to get it done back again, to pick out the talent that I need to actually get quickness again. And when that happens, that's kind of bad. So, talking about some of the mechanics the boss has. You can see we get some things on us. We have this mechanic where one person is marked with the green arrow. They have to stand behind the rest of the group to make sure that they don't die. Each person standing in front of them will take a little bit of damage, but not a lot.
I'm up here.
Refreshing.
Interesting.
Armored up.
We have had a person die here. We'll just see if we're still going to be okay. I think we will be. We're still on time. Let's keep going.
Gather as many of those as you can. You're finished.
So the boss will do the minion phases 3 times during this encounter. She will do it when she hits 75% health, when she hits 50% health, and when she hits 25% health. And that means that if you have 7.5 minutes left after the first phase, and if you... Oh, wow, that's not what I wanted to do. And if you have 5 minutes left after the second phase, and if you have... Just go to not overlap again. There we go. Having a little bit of focus is always a good thing with this. Anyhow, if you make sure to have 5 minutes after the second phase and 2.5 minutes after the third phase, you are definitely on a good trajectory towards actually succeeding here.
Let the stars strike.
Because the boss will not do a last one. So if you have 1/4 of the time left, at the time you are finished with 3/4 of her health and all of the minion fights, you should be doing really well. Here, just gonna
Attack my target.
through here. You can see one guy is always going to be targeted in this phase with these following things. It's really bad that they are dying to those, but yeah. We'll see if we make it anyways. 2 down is a little bit tragic though. That is kind of bad. we'll see.
Sharp blades, sharp mind.
Theoretically, it should be the best people around that are still up. Oof. Alright.
You cannot.
Is healer and boon DPS still in group 3? The person that left forgot to say what their role was. Yeah, but Imrish, you're in my squad, right? Yeah.
Sharp blades, sharp mind.
Q heal is 3. Is the A DPS. Awesome.
You cannot
Just need
take my power.
Where is Nurse Strange? Nurse. The point lieutenant. This is one of those things that you can do as a commander. You can appoint lieutenants in the squad to give them more available actions. There we go. And we're pulling them down there. Welcome. Okay, one thing I noticed was people standing a little too long in the pools on the ground. If you are targeted by those, run far away from party and keep running around until they stop chasing you. There we go. Important little bit of information, because it's one of those mechanics that are really not very dangerous as soon as you know how to deal with it, but they can be really annoying if you don't. And they are deadly, and when you stand in those pools, even if it's someone else's pools, and that's why you're running far away from the party, because even if you stand in someone else's pools, you will get a stacking debuff, and when that stacking debuff reaches 10 stacks, you are going to be... You're going to be mind controlled, basically. You're going to be mind controlled by the boss, which means that you will have to be beaten down by your friends. Otherwise, you'll, keep attacking your friends instead of the boss. So that's a very annoying mechanic to deal with if you aren't ready for it. So it's rather important that you are ready for it, that you actually deal with it beforehand by not standing in the pools instead of having everybody fight you, basically. This is this one weird thing, which I kind of think is a bug, because she does this at some point a little bit into the thing where she does that thing where she makes the pizza slices is also something that she does when she is fighting, when she's switching faces over to a minion face. And seconds, here we go. When she is switching faces over to a minion face. And when she does it at this point where she isn't actually switching over, she is... I'm just making sure I'm standing right. she becomes, even though she has more time on the demonic aura left, she becomes fully stacked with her "you can't damage me" stacks here. To deal with those stacks, oh, damn. Okay, someone isn't moving away from the group with the thing.
You're finished.
Someone really isn't moving away from the group with the thing. Those were the pools I was talking about. You can see because the guy that had pools on them started healing me, a pool spawned on top of me, and I have 3 of these residual anxiety stacks. Those make it so that if I get to 10 of these and they just keep staying there, if I get to 10 of these, I am going to be mind controlled by the boss, and that goes for everyone in the group. And I believe that a lot of us just got a couple of stacks, so it's really bad if too many people get stacks, and it's really bad if anyone reaches 10 stacks. Oh, I see that we have been graced by a bot over on Twitch that is trying to sell. I guess they're trying to sell me viewers because it says best views, so at least they're trying to scam me and not scam random people watching. I'll still deal with them when I'm not actively fighting a boss. It is a little awkward when it happens while I'm busy. Button. There we go. That's also a thing that you might want to master when doing this boss. You have the ability. To pick up these blue circles that she'll spawn regularly. Okay, I'm all the way on the other side from the group. That's kind of bad. Have to get over to them as quickly as possible. People are really not respecting the circles. It's really bad.
Eat my dust. I need some help.
So this is a guy who stood too long in the circles. You can see we have to beat them down and then get them up again. Which it takes time. It's time that they are not able to DPS, all that kind of stuff. Full circles for if you were targeted. There we go. We're still making time. It should be fine. This is a decent attempt. We are going to, unless something unexpected happened, we are going to get it this time. So it shouldn't be too big of a problem, even though, of course, it would have been preferable to. It's always preferable when people do mechanics better, because that means that you do it faster. You don't have to use as much time on the boss and on the mechanics. Also, these are important to dodge. They're important to dodge because, as you can see, I just got hit by one, which means, is it me? Did I get targeted by the? I did not. Because as you can see, I now have a debilitated debuff, which has minus 25% damage done per stack. Which is a rather big debuff to your damage, and that stacks, which means whoop, we have to break here. That's very important. That stacks, and if you get a couple of those debuff stacks, if you have 4 of them, you're going to deal 0 damage for 30 plus seconds, which is obviously a huge deal. You can see there's 4 seconds left of this, so we can go out now, grab one immediately, and as soon as that, we got to 25%. That is just great.
Sharper still.
Excellent. At least the person targeted right now is moving around out here, away from the group, which is the right thing to do. That is the way you handle those.
Sharp blades, sharp minds.
So, get these as fast as possible. And we have 3 minutes left after the last phase. And as you might recall, I said that as long as you have more than 2.5 minutes left, you should be golden. Even if you have less than 2.5 minutes, you still are likely golden. You still are likely golden because there won't be a last minion phase. But yeah. Unless something really bad happens and we are super unprepared for it, we should have this one in the bag. There's, again, that guy got hit by things. We're probably not going to be able to save them here. We're just going to keep damaging the boss. That's going to be okay. Ooh, I did not expect this. Okay, good. A lot of other people saved us there. I should have saved my crowd control for when the boss potentially did that, which I didn't know I should do, but you know, we all make mistakes. You are less than 10 seconds now, so now is a good time to pick another one up. When this debuff has less than 10 seconds left, you get this one for like 12 seconds or so. So when that has less than 10 seconds left, it's a good time to pick up the next one. There we go.
I achieve things. I'm an achiever.
There we go.
Nice gear.
And let's see if we're lucky. Did we get the infusion? No. Oh well. There's always next time for that. Anyways, Temple of Phoebe is up next. And we are going to leave the instance. We have to... Alright, I noticed that Twitch bot leaving a comment. So it's time to... Where's my ban button? There's my ban button. Nice. Feels good. There we go. And so in a second here, this loading screen is taking a long time all of a sudden. Maybe it's because I was tapped out doing the little banny ban. Get banned. Going to open up this. Looking for group. Strike missions experienced. We are now doing Temple of Phoebe. Normal mode. We just need a DPS. There we go. Shouldn't take too long to get a DPS in on this. Renowned Heart and Distant Heart of Maguma. We'll find that. Okay. Oh, Convergences has also opened right now. Ugh. I made a poll for you guys on YouTube recently where I asked what your least favorite gold making activity that you still felt like you had to do was, and a lot of you answered Convergences, and I really get that. It's so efficient, it gives so much gold to do Convergences, both this one in Outer Neos and the one from Janthia Wilds, but it's just... It's a half-hour block of time that just... it takes so long. It takes so long, and I just... but you should do it 3 times a week if you have the time. Also, the fact that you... have to wait for the 3-hour downtime cooldowns for it. Like, it only comes up every 3 hours, and when it comes up, you have to set off half an hour, sometimes 40-45 minutes if the group is slow. Or if you joined a little late, the group will be smaller and it'll take longer, and it's just, I don't enjoy Convergences. And I'm sad to see that we haven't gotten new strike missions from Janthea, that they've just given us a new convergence. I mean, it's great that they still do raids, I guess. Raids have never really done actual good... Whoa. That guy just came and went. Which is kind of annoying, because the fact that they were there for a second means that our group stopped being in the queue. Let's see here, strike missions experienced. There we go. But yeah, it's... I don't really enjoy convergences. I think it's... It was fun the first couple of times. It was fun the first couple of times. I'm not gonna deny that. I think the game mode has potential, but I think the fact that it's that good for gold making, and the fact that even though you can do private squads outside of the public opening hours, so to speak, it's just a pain to do. I'd much prefer that they either opened them up or did them a little shorter. Again, convergences are this weird halfway point between meta events and strikes. Honestly, convergences are kind of like the Dragonstorm event back from Icebroad Saga. I don't honestly, if that had been made today, they would have called it a convergence. Why do I like that better than I like the new convergences? I think I like that better because the new convergences have a lot of places that you have to go out and do different need to go to the wizards. Oh well. This is also something that's a little weird. Sometimes people will join, and they will join strike missions experienced, but they don't have the expansion that they need to join the actual strike. Which I always find a little bit weird, because if you're joining strike missions experienced, you should probably already know at least what the strike is. Should at least have looked it up or something before you joined it. Go. Are you also in... You're in Mistlock Sanctuary. Perfect. You need to join through the Wizard's Tower. Do you have Secrets of the Obscure? Someone just joined that didn't. Sorry if that feels a little mansplainy. Ah, perfect. Excellent. Ready check. That's also one of those things where you end up asking new people if they have the expansion for the strike they just signed up for in experienced queue, and it feels like you're being a little condescending, just a little bit condescending, asking someone if they actually have access to the content that they signed up for. But then you sometimes get people that don't have access to the content for some obscure reason. It's a little messy. So for this boss, for Cirrus, it's important that you walk out from him when you get this stuff on you. And that's important because of this ability. He is going to be doing this in a circle. And if there were stuff on top of him, we would be slowed. It would be more difficult to move around him to avoid that. So we want to spread people out for that. And then you can see he does an ability here where he targets a guy and he adds a shadow to him that we have to deal with. When he splits up, you have to take the two on the sides that are not the biggest one and not the three small ones, but the two that are medium-sized. Those are the two guys you want. Destroying out my malice. This is the thing where you move away.
Sure.
Those will slowly move towards him. I have no idea what happens if they actually reach him. That just doesn't seem to be an issue in general. Heyo, Nicole Maria. We're just playing a little bit of the old Guild Wars 2. And we are trying to do some of the things that are most important to do to earn your weekly gold. So right now we are doing the Secrets of the Obscure Strike rotation. We just did Cosmic Observatory. This is probably my main game right now, but I am a huge MMO gamer in general. I do play a lot of World of Warcraft as well. In fact, I'll have a video out at some point soon about last month I got my subscription ended, and when I logged in it informed me nicely of that, and it said, hey, would you like to just use 326 gold, 326,000, let me say that right, gold to renew that subscription. And I was like, you know what? I actually have that around. I've played a little bit of hardcore, but not a lot of it. I mostly play retail. I have a semi-static, I guess, where we progress Mythic Plus together. So we generally go to just about plus 11, plus 12, something like that each season. So not a super extreme, we want to reach the top, tippy top, but just you know, enough to have a little fun with friends and feel like you get that one meta achievement that I always forget. Yeah, I get that. I also think there's something very... I don't think cute is the right word, but like... There's something great about the pacing of classic WoW. Where you have to take it slow and steady. And hardcore, of course, it takes that to the extreme, right? Dead by Daylight? I've heard that title before, but I haven't actually played the game, and I don't remember what game it is. What genre is that from? Cool. I mean, I'll gladly look into it. I don't think... It's not an MMO, right? So I probably won't be playing it on this channel, because it's important to keep semi-consistent with the genre of games that you play. But... I'll keep it in mind. A horror multiplayer game. Oh, Dead by Daylight is the one where one guy is the killer and the other 4 are survivors, and you have to run around and start generators. That's the one?
Sharp blades, sharp mind.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of... what's that guy called? It's been a while since I saw him last, but Cat on Mars, I think. I've seen a lot of Cat on Mars playing Dead by Daylight. It looks a lot of fun, honestly. It's one of those games, though, where I often, when I do those kinds of games, it's often because I have friends that are also playing them, and then we can play them together and be really, you know, pretend mad at each other for doing well or doing bad or doing all that kind of stuff. But yeah, great game. But yeah, right now, most of my time goes towards MMO games. I have this, I have World of Warcraft. I don't have my Final Fantasy XIV subscription active right now, but of course I've played a lot of that as well. And I'm in the alpha for Ashes of Creation as well. A lot of stuff. I do also play Elden Ring. I have played a bunch of that when that came out. I probably won't be playing the... thank you. There we go. I probably won't be playing Night Rain, because it's just... It's not that I wouldn't like it, but it's just not really in the wheelhouse of games that I'm into right now, right? I go through a lot of phases where I play a lot of different games, and honestly, if I had more time on my hands right now, I would probably be playing more V Rising or try out that new Dune game. Those both look really great. I generally use a scythe, and I like lightning magic. I love just hurling spears of lightning, and I'm, you know, original Sunbro stuff. Praise the sun and all that. I enjoy I don't remember. You can get this scythe pretty early in the game that I basically just used for the entire game. The one that's like big and has wings and scales on faith. I mean, longsword and hammer sounds pretty fun too. There's a lot of ways to go about playing these games. I have a friend that does a lot of fun builds. He's played all of the Dark Souls games and was the guy that got me into them in the first place. And he sometimes, in every game, he'll have one character that like uses the biggest shield you can find and just only uses the shield. That's also generally pretty fun to co-op with. Do some jolly cooperation.
You can never have too much treasure.
Let's see here. Get all of these things out. And use. Inventory wars, am I right? This is just the biggest inventory wars. There we go. They both are such powerful weapons. I always use these weapons when I play Elden Ring. That makes sense. I mean, honestly, I think...
Nice.
I mean, there are good and bad weapons of every category, but I am often doing stuff where I like to play with weapons that I just think feel cool. I don't necessarily need them to be the best. And hi, Pure Purple. I am indeed winning. We just won the Cosmic Observatory Challenge mode and then the Temple of Phoebe normal mode. And I am going to be either doing some Fractals as the next, doing the daily T4 plus Rex, or I'm going to switch over to do the End of Dragons or the Icebrood Saga ones. I did actually set up a Discord just recently. 2 seconds, I can link people to it. Do. Do Discord, create a link. Because somebody asked for a link to Discord last time I streamed as well. So, edit the invitational link so that it doesn't expire. Create a new link. Copy. You can just join the channel here. And yeah, if any of you want to join for either Fractals or for more strike missions, feel free to write in chat. We'll do the strike missions instead of doing, or we'll do whatever people want to do, if anybody has any preferences. Otherwise, in a minute, when you've actually had time to catch up to where I am in the stream right now, I'll just pick up one of them. And it will probably be Fractals if no one has any other preferences. Because Fractals are just pretty chill, pretty easy to do, and they have a lot of, they have a lot of gain. You get a lot of stuff. Nice. Thank you so much, Nickel Maria. Am I saying that right? Do you prefer Nickel Maria? Do you prefer Nickel? Prefer Maria? Let me know. No worries. I'll just keep pronouncing it however I'm pronouncing it then. Let's see. So, I have a big black box because I don't think the fact that Nico. We'll call you Nico then. I don't want people who have friended me in the game to be exposed too much on the stream. They didn't choose for me to stream, so I generally cover that up when I open this. Okay, so going for Fractals of the Mists. Your friend request. Your friend request. I don't see any new friend requests in the game. If it's on Discord, I'll check out Discord after I finish streaming. Let's see here. And we are going to be doing the T4 plus Rex. I'm always a quick DPS. I like the spec that I have, so I generally do that. So I need one A heal. And to inform people that this group is being chill streamed over at Mook Chivalry. There we go. I feel like you should mention that you are streaming when you're putting up groups, Because people deserve to know that they are being filmed, even though that might take it a little bit longer to get groups. I just feel like that's one of those things that you should. It feels like good karma, right? And of course, that's also why my camera is where it is. It's to block chat so that I can chat with people without them being exposed in case they, you know, say something bad. I don't feel like having a bad day should be punished too hard when you're just a random guy on the internet. So yeah, this is a jumping puzzle. When you unlock this part of the fractal of the... Oh, I messed that up. But when you unlock this part of the part where you can jump around, I don't remember what this is called, but when you unlock this experimentation stuff where you can jump high, you can skip a lot of the jumping puzzle. Normally you have to walk all the way around back here. But when you can jump like this, you can... If I can do it right this time. Oh, almost. You can skip it by going over the long gap here. Hey, welcome. There we go. And then up here, and then over here. And then you need to have quickness active to actually get to the other side. So I'm just going to wait for my elixir of ambition. But yeah, if you just jump here, then you can walk up, and you just have to do 2 more jumps, and you're basically at the chest at the end over here. Instead of having to go all the way around and up through these ruins and doing a lot of difficult jumps, we're going to do a few simple jumps.
That fits good.
Whee! There we go. Do 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 do. Yeah. I really quickly get to feel very Mission Impossible when I'm doing jumping puzzles. Honestly, this is one of the things that Guild Wars does well and better than all of the other MMOs out there. It's the jumping puzzles. I really enjoy doing them. And it's kind of a shame that more MMOs don't do it. Welcome, smiley face. Welcome. Okay, we're hoping that this last person is actually an electricity healer. Perfect. The last person that joined was indeed an electricity healer. So we can just start our fractals. Do 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 do. Cliffside. Yeah. So this is one of those things where there are a couple of things that are nice for you to do when you are actually doing your daily or weekly gold farming in Guild Wars. And those things are things like getting... Here we go. I'll just use the achievements to show off. Each day you can do the fractals. If you do the 3 daily ones, at whatever tier you're on, it's actually already kind of profitable to just start out with the tier 1s. You're still going to get a decent amount of value out of it. And you're actually going to get a decent amount of value out of it, and you are going to slowly progress towards more value. So getting started on fractals, I can't recommend that enough. I have a video on how much you can actually earn for this and how to overcome the difficulties of getting into it over on my YouTube channel, which is called the same as my Twitch channel, Mook Chivalry. And then I'd suggest doing... There's one challenge mode strike that even if you don't feel like you're ready for challenge modes, that I suggest you do anyways, because I see that as the best strike to get into challenge modes through, and that's the Cosmic Observatory challenge mode from Horn of Maguma from Secrets of the Obscure. That one is rather easy. I suggest Muglock's guide video for the strike mission. If you just search get to the point COCM Muglock on YouTube. You'll find a great video. It takes 4 minutes and it shows off all the mechanics very quickly for that. So watch that and then just go find a group that does the challenge mode of Cosmic Observatory. And then I'd suggest the most efficient timing-wise for you, if you have a limited time to play this game, I'd suggest doing the priority Canther Strike each day for 4 days out of the week. Then you'll get the meta, the weekly Canther Strike as well. We have that weekly Canther Strikes. Weekly Canther Strikes, which gives you a legendary insight as well as some bonus loot for doing 4 out of the 5 different ones. Old Lion's Court is the most difficult one, so I'd suggest doing the other 4, frankly. Old Lion's Court is primarily difficult because it's one of the few times in this game where you need someone who knows how to tank, and the game is not set up for tanks, so it's about doing a little bit of wriggle room and getting a boss to follow you, and it's... I haven't learned how to do it, so yeah. Of course, I also believe that when going back to the on normal mode, Old Lion Court bosses are so squishy though. Harvest Temple is harder, Purple. It's harder in the sense that it's a marathon. Old Lion's Court is a sprint, so it's easy to make a mistake in Old Lion's Court and get wrecked by some mechanic, but you don't have to do it for a long time. You just have to do it for a good time, so to speak. Where Harvest Temple, there aren't a lot of mechanics that are super difficult to get or to understand, so no single mechanic will likely wipe you. Maybe with the exception of the Mordramoth Slam, because people are busy focusing on spreading out, and then when the slam comes and knocks you over, that's can get the Danish word is komme bag på, that can surprise some people. But I don't think it's harder. I just think it's a marathon rather than a sprint. Yeah. But yeah, doing each of them. Whoopsie. Do I actually have a way to get up? I do. 1 and 2 pass. Wait for the next one. I didn't wait long enough. I am a scrub right now because I'm focusing on the other. I'm doing strikes in my head, so to speak. It looks like the other ones are further on now. I'll GG and I should be able to. Oh, they got into combat. Did I not get up? Oh well. I mean, that's fair. I just feel like Old Lion's Court is really overrated difficulty-wise, but you need 2 to 3 people who know what they are doing and call CC. That's true. That's true. Honestly, if you just have one guy who knows how to tank and the rest of your group, the other 9 people, just knows generally how basic mechanics of the game work, so that they are ready to dodge when you need to dodge, go in close when you need to go in close, all of that pretty standard stuff. It's not difficult at all. It is just one of those strikes where there's an extra bit of specialty knowledge, so to speak. So yeah, you're right. It is overrated. It's not as difficult as people make it out to be. But because there's a little bit of specialty knowledge, I always like to suggest people do other stuff instead when they have the choice. Yeah. But yeah, honestly, seems like they should be dropping the hammer soon. It's getting red. Yeah. There we go. They didn't drop the hammer. So this fractal, in case somebody hasn't done this fractal before, the specific mechanic of this fractal is that you have to you have to drop this hammer regularly because
Armored up.
getting this to... I don't actually remember, it's probably 40. But yeah, getting this too high will make it... will make you get downed, so you need to throw the hammer down before that happens. And somebody else needs to be nearby to pick up the hammer. And you can see my stacks are slowly going down again. But that's a pretty easy mechanic as soon as you have it under control, so to speak. And when you have a mesmer, it's extra easy because you can get to portal back and forth. Does the hammer get through? The hammer got through.
That feels good.
And pick up the hammer. And use the 4 ability. And hit these a little bit. So that when they die, I should get the 4 ability again. Doesn't look like I actually hit them because I didn't get the ability.
Refreshing.
Or and then slash GG over here, because when everybody GGs and we get out of combat, you get teleported to the other side of the giant, which is where you move faster. It's one of those small tricks. People really like using all of the small tricks in this game, and you know, it's fun to do, but don't stress too much if you find it hard to do. It's not that big of a deal. And if you just get yourself some stability here, you can move through all of these, even if you're only a single person. Ooh, this soundtrack kind of slaps. I dig that. And yeah, the gimmick at this boss is that every time you damage him down to a certain percentage, he drops the hammer, and you have to go kill a cultist to get it charged, just like you did down below. Again, one of the examples of honestly one of Guild Wars' biggest wins is strikes. Many of their strikes are fashioned in a way that you will test out the mechanics you have to use on the boss during your time in the strike. So we had to do the chains and the hammer while not fighting a boss first, and then now we have to do it while fighting a boss. And so slowly you stack up mechanics. And in case you don't have the achievement, there's an achievement for only killing one of these chanters every time he becomes invulnerable. So doing the least amount of damage, basically. We have already killed more than one every time, and he will spawn more, so it's not like something you need to do, but it is a way to get a little bit of an extra achievement. And once you do finish him off completely, there is another achievement in this fractal to get, which you get by bowing to the giant when he bows to you here at the end. I already have that achievement, but I believe that's an achievement that actually earns you a mastery point, which means it's definitely worth being aware of if you haven't done it before. You can see the giant is going to be free here. We are going to be moving on before that happens, but if you write /bow and bow to the giant after he bows to you, stay a little longer, your team won't die from you doing so. And especially in the low level fractals, they might not even know that that's where you're at, so they might even thank you. Who knows? That is if you explain it to them, that there's an achievement for bowing to the giant.
This fractal seems to incorporate energy signatures from multiple fractals.
Eat my dust!
Where did you come from?
Also, when you're not doing challenge mode fractals, even when you are doing the highest levels of fractals, of normal mode fractals, they're not difficult, which means I don't suggest.
Which I will use if you continue.
Can I right-click the chests? No.
I don't understand.
No, that can't be. I can right-click the chests to make the. Do I get the loot instantly then from the chests?
Refreshing.
Oh my! If that's true. Oh. Wait, something just went wrong.
Someone already in there ahead of you?
Something is wrong on Restream.
There's radiant chaotic energy jamming this frequency.
Can I refresh here?
Give up yet?
Oh. Alright, I'm just gonna GG. There we go. Okay, I don't know if chat actually shows up right now or not. Oh, I guess my team engaged the next part of the level, so I can't actually chat. But I can right-click the bounty chests. Purple, can you confirm that? I'm going to... Ah, damn. That was a second here I could have gotten up. That's actually really cool. I did not actually know that. But I'll be doing that after this one. Makes everything so much easier. Not to have to do 2 clicks, and where 1 click is over here and the other is in the middle of the screen. It takes so long. Anyhow, I was about to say, as Purple mentioned, that I was about to say that they're not actually difficult, these, even the high level fractals, as long as you have the agony resistance that you need for them, which means I don't suggest actually, until you have the infinite potions, I don't suggest popping your fractal potions in here. I suggest just selling them to the vendor at the Mistlog Observatory for more fractal relics until you get the, I think it's 8,000 for the offensive one and 5,000 for each of the other ones. And when you get those, then use those. But honestly, get it first. Go for the long term, because they're not really needed until you actually want to do like challenge mode of the difficult fractals. Honestly, they're probably not even needed there. They're just nice. And the most important one, so the one I would go for first when you get to buying the infinite ones, I would go for the defensive one first. Just because making life easier for your healer is more important than damage. There are no big enrages that you need to worry about at the beginning. So just get the defensive before the offensive. Some people swear to the mobility because keeping up with your group is important and is nice, but honestly, they can wait those 5 seconds longer. Get the defensive, because what wastes the most time is when someone is an idiot. Like, I've never been that idiot, but you know, if someone were to die and leave an entire encounter to 4 people instead of 5, that would be crazy waste of time, so much extra time. So, you know, don't be that guy. Let's just ignore what we're seeing on the screen. You know, when people are fighting and there are only 4 people fighting because someone dies in the group, that's So yeah, defensive first, because it's better to avoid the worst case than to get a little bit of an edge, especially as you're learning, in my opinion. I can just use this time to click over and check out whether everything works out here. So try that after this one. Yeah, I can see that you said try it after this one when I'm over in my Twitch, but I can't actually see it in my OBS where it's supposed to go. just try typing out something here. Testing if restream is working again. Oh, you said you could try another message, and it worked. I saw it. I saw it. Perfect. So it was just a temporary setback. Great. That is super.
Feel free to quiz whatever it is you imagine you're doing in here.
Ah, getting stun locked here always feels bad.
Oh, no, you don't. There. Was she always this stubborn?
Yeah. Getting hit by those first couple. Never a good thing. Just gonna... There we go. I am not being a credit to team right now. I'm too focused on all the streaming problems and too little focused on actually playing the game. But thankfully I have some very experienced people in this party. And if you're ever in doubt about how experienced the people in your party are, just look for this. Look for if they have the Fractal God, gain 25% agony resistance and 7% outgoing damage and 100 health per second. And 3 of the other people in this party have the Fractal God one. So, yeah. I think Purple, I think I have been dead for longer than I've been alive in this Fractal. Quite frankly, yeah. Whoopsie, as they say. Is everyone here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Let's just do it. Time to make up for that, being dead against this gladiator. I know how he fights. Oh, I accidentally stopped my own ability. Kind of bad. It's kind of really bad. Oh well.
Calibrating the diaphragm refraction randomizer. Watch your step.
Never have too much trouble.
Doing all of my hard work.
Honestly, this is kind of a fun fractal. I like that they did a fractal that's like a little bit from a lot of different fractals and they're all merged together here. It's kind of fun. And I haven't actually... I've been waiting for it to be the daily, for it to be more natural to do it. But I am very excited to actually try out Kinfall, see the new fractal, what they've been doing with that, if they've been good at... actually... Oh, let's try these. Oh, that's so much better. Oh, Purple, that's... Oh, that's great. Oh, they will release the CM in a week or so. Ooh. Maybe I should do like a blind first-time CM stream or something.
There you are.
Not that,
without you.
Again,
I trust you'll enjoy
honestly,
the reward.
that would probably support my message, which is
Allegiance to your king.
you can probably do fractals. Whoever you are, whatever your experience level are, it's not actually too difficult to do fractals. You can probably do it. I can do it, and I'm not a good gamer. I'm just an experienced gamer. I'm just a guy who's been doing this for long enough to learn the ropes and know what's possible. I'm not a guy who's actually talented or good or can do any like, oh, MLG 360 no scope or whatever the MMO equivalent of that would be. And so frankly, you can do fractals, whoever you are. That shows your participation and you have to collect in the middle.
My powers of
Shows your participation and you have to collect in the middle.
Rally to me! You will wipe the awakened
In the new Kinfall fractal on challenge mode, shows your participation. Read the message. Ah, yeah, the right click works for everything except meta events where you get participation. That shows you. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. They want you to have that big show off thing. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, in
Still
fact.
have it once we've persuaded her to join our cause.
This is also, honestly, I love this fight so much as well, when we get to that in a second. Her channeling each of the six and getting a new set of abilities, a new look, and you have to... Such a fun fight, so diverse. They haven't done it too challenging because all of the abilities are, or most of the abilities are rather standard, right? Don't stand in the bad stuff, even though whether the bad stuff is following you because she is Dwayna and calling down lightning strikes, or the bad stuff is big bad pools of bad on the ground because she is doing Grin, or because the bad stuff is a big lava wave because she's doing Balthazar. Just... yeah. But yeah, just don't stand in the bad stuff and make sure to run around her and follow around. But the fact that there's so much flavor going on in the battle and she's actually channeling the different gods is just really fun and really great storytelling. It's one of the things that to me makes this world feel alive. It's the idea of it's the idea of doing that, of these priestesses being able to channel the actual human gods and do the... And not only that, but they have this entire... She is stronger because her group all channels these gods. And again we see, these are the Dwayna lightning strikes, and those are the Melandru earth spikes. And that means that we are right now practicing for the boss fight by doing a less difficult, less stuff at the same time version of it. And that's just something that Guild Wars always been... We remember to run away from this. That's just something that Guild Wars has always been good at. It's doing these smaller fights, teaching you the mechanics through practice, and then doing them in a more hardcore setting against the boss. Mwah. Such a great game, such a great part of it. And honestly, that makes me so sad when I remember that they didn't do any new strikes for the entire Janthia Wilds. They've given us a new raid, and that's fine, I guess. I have never really gotten into the raids because the raids are not actually gold efficient. You don't get a lot of stuff from doing the raids. But... new raid, a new convergence. People don't really enjoy convergences. They take too long, and if you want to do them casually, that is if you don't have a dedicated group, you have to wait for the right time only once every 3 hours. Not a great outlook. But oh, somebody found the right one. I think raids can be gold efficient if you one-shot every boss and don't have downtime. I mean, honestly, I haven't actually done... If you watch some of my YouTube videos, every time I suggest something, I do a video where I also do that thing and count together all of the gold. Like, oh god, I just removed myself from having any... Oh, thank god somebody else had the CC for that. Where I test out exactly how much gold I got from the loot that I got through that, and divide it by the time it took to do. So I haven't done one of those for raids, but if you go after what Fast Farming Community says, the best raid gold per hour, and they are often very generous with how long something takes. That is, they think that you do stuff really quickly in there. And their best one says that it's... Oh god, I did it again. I'm a disappointment to this team, I'm sorry! Oh, thank god somebody else is better than me at this game. What was I about to say? Right, I was about to say that when you look at fast farming, they say that it would only give you 22 gold an hour to do the raids. And 22 gold an hour is just not a lot, honestly. When you look at what you get from... This time I have it. There you go. Credit to team. Credit to team. Right here, I'm the credit. These are my teammates. I'm the credit. Ah, let's go. But when you do stuff like Cosmic Observatory Challenge mode, that gives 122 gold an hour. It only gives you 19 gold because it only takes you 10 minutes. But still, that's 6 times as efficient as raids. 5 to 6 times as efficient as raids in gold. And if you just grind out the... what's it called? Dragon's End, the meta event Dragon's End, that gives you about 50 gold an hour in value. And many other meta events are better than that, but can't be grinded in the same way. You can only do those once a day or something like that. But many meta events you can do. I'm just focusing up a little bit here because I'm realizing that my laxness is not being a credit to team here.
Please, do not let them survive.
There we go. Okay, so you say 10 to 13 gold per wing, and they can do 7 wings in 2 to 3 hours. Makes sense. Let's just, once this battle is finished, let's just calculate how much that is in gold.
Gods, take you. All of you.
Let's see, I have a calculator here.
Your pathetic gods offer no protection, Amala.
So we get, let's say, max amount of gold. So 13 times 7 is 91 gold, and you get that 91 gold in, let's say, the minimal amount of time, which is 2 hours. So I'm going to divide it by 2 to say that's 45.5 gold an hour, which is good. If you get the maximum amount of gold in your comparison and you do that's actually fine. You know, if you can get those 45 gold an hour, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Oh yeah, that's with the Mega Biz group. Yeah, that makes sense. Though I find that fast farming, and I've often been agreeing with fast farming's estimates. Like my personal findings have fit those estimates pretty closely.
Citizen.
I found that fast farming is actually estimating it quite nicely, but they're assuming, they're assuming no wait time. They're assuming you do the boss within a very, very short amount of time. They're not assuming wipes at all. So I'm interested in why their estimate is so much lower than yours. Maybe it's improved. Maybe it's just been bad previously. I can check that out. Fast farming community. And we go to... I'm just looking at 2 screens at once here. We go to the... not open world farming, of course. We have to find the one called instance farming, raids. Oh yeah, right now they actually... I'm fairly certain they had a gold per hour estimate up at some point for it. Oh. But they don't right now. Right now they just say Bastion of the Penitent gives a profit of 14 gold and 51 silver, and don't actually mention anything about how much a little that is per amount of time used in there. Honestly, when I have the time, I might have to do a little bit of a testing of the raids. It's also content that I haven't actually done. It's just, again, I like feeling optimal with my time. And when I look at something like raids and I see that they, are some of the challenging content in the game, but at the same time don't actually give any... Okay, I'm going to do this. Take that, going to take that. Oh, it ran out. Oh, there we go. Good. When there's some of the the more challenging content in the game. I can't say if they're the most challenging because I don't actually know how they compare to the challenge mode, the more difficult of the challenge mode strikes and the more difficult of the challenge mode fractals. But I assume they're the most, that raids are the most difficult. And when they don't compare in gold, that just didn't seem like an interesting investment to me. You know, it's the two end of those things, because I don't find it interesting if it's too difficult for too little loot, but I also don't find it interesting fishing. I dislike fishing with a passion, because I don't find it interesting, even though I hate that it is so efficient a gold farm to do something that is so repetitive. I do like chilling with fishing, but I hate that it's so efficient at gold farm. HTCM and so Harvest Temple challenge mode and Temple of Phoebe in the legendary challenge mode, the more difficult one, are harder than the first 7 wings. Wing 8 is not as difficult as the first 7, I hear you say. Makes sense.
You can never have too much treasure.
Makes a lot of sense. Honestly, I should at some point probably do more of the challenge modes in the game in general. I've been keeping away from some of the challenging content just because it's felt like I didn't need it. But I do kind of find myself in a place, especially now that I'm writing guides on YouTube about how to make gold and stuff. And some of the challenge modes, especially of strikes and fractals, are some of the most efficient gold making in the game, that I should do it. I might just test out some challenge modes on stream, and then, you know, once I feel like I have a feeling for it, make sure to include a guide about how I feel, whether I feel people should bother doing it themselves or not,
Very well.
and how to do it in case I feel like they should bother. I might do that. That sounds fun, honestly. Okay, is it this one over here that starts out? It is, but I got punted across the room. Ready for the most satisfying boss death in the game?
You've won nothing! Tremble and cry as I unleash my greatest!
Nice.
So satisfying. So satisfying. Killed by their own invention.
I hate those grubby little inquests.
Do. So, one of the reasons for doing the recommended fractals, even once you are up there and you can do challenge modes and just in general tier 4 fractals, is because it's swampland. Fine, we'll do. I'll have to focus a little bit. I'll speak less for a little while because swampland is annoying in this first step. Okay, nobody seems to be going for this one, so I'm going to go in that direction. Oh, someone is moving away from this one. Okay, I'm just gonna say R. I'm going to grab it. Grab it! I didn't wait for the last R, so it's my fault if we fail here. But I needed that lizard to not interfere too much. Excellent. Easy cut. Wing 8 is the hardest. Oh, interesting. Why is Wing 8 arguable then? Oh, it's arguable whether the other ones are harder than that. That makes sense. I read that wrong. That makes sense. I am just bad at reading. Yeah. Happens to the best of us. But yeah, one of the reasons to grab the fractals of Lower is that their crests drop these pouches that drop specifically one large for one of them, one offensive for one of them, one defensive for one of them, and one mobility potion for one of them, which means an additional 45 is fractal relics, and fractal relics are worth a lot of money per fractal relic, and they progress you towards getting your infinite potions and getting your extra buffs that make it so that extra loot drops in your fractals. Just a lot of nice recursive value that does require a lot, right? The value that you sacrifice to get all of your offensive, all of your infinite mist potions, that value takes you, I think I calculated it was 400 fractals. 400 some version of daily or reg fractals. Not per fractal, but fractals total. To actually earn back. And that means that when you're doing these, let's say you're doing 3 plus 3, so 6 fractals a day, that's, you know, 80, 90 days of doing fractals before they pay themselves in again. And you begin making profit from being able to sell your large potions instead of having to use them because you now have infinite potions. But still, that's if you are getting to the point, like you have to do 100 fractals to unlock all fractals in the first place. So when you think of it like that, suddenly 90 fractals or 90 days of fractals don't seem super like too much. Someone is going there, someone is going there, someone is going there. Okay, someone is going everywhere. I'm just gonna stand here and look nice then. Like, look at this muck. Love this muck. Feel very necromancery. But yeah, it is for people who want to do fractals longer term. But honestly, if you're starting on fractals, fractals will always be one of your best gold makers in the game, and one of the easiest ones to just do when you have half an hour-ish, 45 minutes in case you get a swampland fractal and it takes a little bit extra time. But yeah, fractals are fast, fractals are efficient. I do suggest fractals. I have a guide on how to get into them over on my YouTube channel, which is named the same as my Twitch channel in case you're looking over at Twitch right now. Oh yeah, right, and you know, do click follow, subscribe to YouTube, do all of that stuff. It helps me know that there's interest for me doing this, and I do enjoy doing it, so, you know, as I slowly get better at talking to a camera and slowly get better at forming cohesive arguments and stuff like that, yeah. I think this is going to be fun for the next long time. I'm doing these weekly. This is actually supposed to be a shorter one, where I don't do it for too long because I want to get a YouTube video that I'm a little behind on out. But I am really enjoying streaming, and I'm doing it about this time slot every week. I start at, well, my local time, it's at 3 p.m., which is... I mean, it's 1.5 hours ago. I try to start 1.5 hours ago every Monday. So if you want to come hang out for some of those other streams, please do. Especially some of you nice chatty folks. It's been a super pleasure to have people like Nico and Purple here. People to chat with. Of course, just watching is nice too. But I do enjoy having people to chat with. Especially people that know nice tips. Thank you, Purple, for that tip about how to get chests in a much faster way. Oh, I can't believe that I've been playing this game since it came out back in 2012 or 14 or whenever it came out, and in all that time I haven't known that you can just right-click these chests to instantly accept their rewards. And I mean, I have proof. I have proof of being old. Honestly, it's just proof of being old. You can see the Ridlock figure that I have here. That's the Ridlock figure that comes with the collector's edition of the core game. Oh, been a while since then. Been a while since then.
Eat my dust.
This is honestly also a fun fight. I like this, the double boss design that they have going right in there. That's been kind of fun every time. It's a good boss design, fun mechanics. Of course, it's going to be no challenge on Fractal Scale 10, but you got the original DVD, but 90% of your playtime has been the last 6 months. Ooh, nice. I get that. I mean, I play a lot of different MMOs as well, so I'm also a lot of like in and out of different MMOs. So I had a long while here recently where I played a lot of the alpha over in Ashes of Creation and had a lot of fun with that. But then, you know, at some point I just felt like it needed a little bit more time to cook before I went back to it. I've played a lot of Final Fantasy XIV, I've played a lot of World of Warcraft, also went back to that when Shadowlands came out, not Shadowlands. What's the newest one called again? I've completely forgotten the newest expansion in World of Warcraft's name. The one where we go to, you know, Dornagal, Kasalgar, Thwart, Naifu, all of that. Also about raids, I just wanted to argue that the gold is not that bad. I mostly play them for fun rather than gold. Also nice for ascended gear. I barely have legendary weapons. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Ascended gear, really the best ways to get that is definitely either fractals or raids. Or, well, to get the armor and weapons nowadays, honestly, Wizard's Vault. Being able to grab 3 pieces of ascended armor every, I mean, it's about 3 months or so, right? But 3 pieces of ascended armor and 1 weapon, free choice, free, you can pick any stats you want on them. Really nice for the, you know, if you, specifically if you need it. Of course, if you want to get this for the gold, a lot of other stuff you should get. This isn't gold efficient, but it is very easy first time ascended stuff. And in Fractals, you'll be getting all kinds of rings and stuff like that. We'll probably see a couple drop here because it is time to play Inventory Wars 2. See, as I open a lot, I already got a random ascended accessory here, and it is not unlikely that when I open my fractal encryptions, I will get
nice gear.
1 or 2 more ascended somethings. Let's see, not today. But you can see these are fractal encryptions. Each of those require a fractal encryption key to get. You can buy 30 a day of them, deeply discounted. Hey Thaddeus, welcome back. I recall you watching a couple of weeks ago as well. Nice to see you again. And you can buy them discounted as well. You can see I got 38 fractal encryptions from this run, which means you get a little bit more than 30 each day. Grabbing these, you can see I pay 7.5 gold for the discounted ones. Still worth it. When I sell just all of this random gray stuff to this merchant. Look at my gold go up. 123, 140. Mwah. Sweet. And that's without all of the stuff that I just randomly banked here. All of the fractal relics that I gained. Some of them, of course, went back into the keys. Also, the keys that are discounted or deeply discounted, you can buy fractal encryptions on the trading post, and you will get a profit from doing that as a buy order, and then just opening them with your discounted and deeply discounted encryption keys, and then get, you know, opening them and selling the stuff inside them. I am that is. That makes sense. I get it. I also have a nickname that most people. I have been called the LP, or just LP, by people on and off during my life. And for people who don't know that nickname, I also just come out as T-Help. So I sympathize with the struggle of people reading your name and going, I am Thetis, instead of I am that is. So should I just call you I am, like God? I don't recognize the reference, but I haven't seen or played Red Wall, so probably something nice and cultural that I've missed out on.
That looks valuable.
Oh, and let me just rant about this as well. 19 scavenger bags magic trophies. 19 scavenger bags magic trophies. You get these by getting yourself where is it? Jadebot upgrade called Scavenger Protocol Magic Trophies. Once every minute, you can also get the Might one. These are both great. Once every minute or so, you have a chance. It has a minute's cooldown, so about every minute, as long as you're actively killing something, you will get a Scavenger Bag Magic Trophies. Each of those, average value, about 1.5 silver. Something like that. You get it just from the trading post by writing Scavenger Protocol. Woo! And just get either of these. It looks expensive, 10 gold, or 6.5 if you are willing to wait for the buy order. It looks expensive, but they pay themselves in super fast, like 6.5 hours of active killing stuff playtime. And you're definitely going to, if you're playing this, if you're watching a stream about this game and you're playing this game, you are very probably going to be, playing 6.5 active hours of this game. Worth getting. Get it as soon as you can. Of course, you need the not Secrets of the Obscure, the End of Dragons expansion to actually get a Jadebot. But otherwise, get it as soon as possible. Begin making a profit. Yes. Red Wall is an English Fable series that was dubbed in Danish. Oh, cool. Sounds awesome. Might have to look that up as well at some point.
Nice gear.
Let's see here. I don't actually want to salvage. I think it's only equipment that you actually want to salvage with your Copperfed and with your stuff. You want to sell these white ones. Someone with more experience in the chat, please correct me, because it's one of those things that I just heard many years ago and I've just taken as gospel, that it's only the gear that's actually worth salvaging. You should always sell the non-gear stuff, and then again, the blue gear you salvage with your Copperfed Salvage-O-Matic. The green gear you salvage with the Rune Crafters, because they have runes inside of them, and the weapons have sigils inside of them, and the Rune Crafters is more expensive, but also salvages those, which means that on average that's going to make you a profit, because they sometimes will get a... Let's see if I got one here so that I can show it off. I did not. But they will sometimes drop symbols of X, Y, or Z, which are used to craft legendary sigils and legendary runes. So they sell for a lot on the trading post, which means they are worth getting. And your rare stuff,
never have too much treasure.
you get with the Silverfit Salvage-O-Matic, because you get 0.85 globs of ectoplasm on average from your rare salvage, and that's enough for it to be to gain value from doing the salvaging. And if you are smart about it, you will save your Black Lion salvage kits for exotics that you know have runes or sigils that are worth selling on the trading post. I'm not that smart. Any exotic I use my Black Lion salvage kit for, that works for me with the amount of playtime I do. The Salvage-O-Matics are, they're about 200 gold each or so. Basically, right now I think they're actually on sale, so it's even better to get them right now. Let's see if I can find them in here somewhere. They might be off sale again. Salvage. Yeah, they're off sale again, unfortunately. But grab them on sale. They come on sale, you know, every couple of months or so. And you can get them pretty cheaply. I think Pure Purple says, I'm pretty sure. I have both Twitch and YouTube chat. I am that is over on YouTube, and Purple is over on Twitch. Purple says, I am pretty sure that if you don't have rune crafters, it's better to just sell green on the trading post. It doesn't have a non-gem equivalent. That makes a lot of sense. So the one you probably want to start with then, I am that is probably the rune crafters if you are going to get one of them. And you know, we can check how much gold they cost by just going and saying, okay, 600 gems. Let's see what that is right now, right? I'm not buying, I am custom exchanging. 600. 271 gold. It's gonna take a while before they pay themselves off, but they pay themselves off twofold. One, from being convenient. Two, for the rune crafters specifically. As Purple says, there isn't a non-gem equivalent, which means getting these symbols more often is just nice, because you auto salvage all of the runes and sigils inside of stuff. And also you can, you know, deduct the price from them. So whenever you want to buy new salvage kits of different stuff from vendors, you don't have to do that, because they're eternal. So I suggest them. They've just been on sale, so you might, depending on how much disposable gold you have right now, you might want to grab one of them immediately, just to get that value ball rolling slowly. But you know, saving 20% when they're on sale is also really nice. It just is. When you're dealing with that amount of gold, it's just enough to really be nice to get a little bit extra value out of that. Let's see here. Gems are pretty cheap though, so could also stack up on gems if you have that kind of capital. It is true. It is true. You could just real life money it. Frankly, there's no gold grind in any game that is as efficient as just doing an extra hour of real life work. It's just to gold grind in games, both in Guild Wars, in World of Warcraft, in anything, you have to enjoy the grind as well. Otherwise, it makes sense to just, you know. Oh, Purple meant that gold is cheap right now, so getting 400 gems for 180 gold right now is good. So buying the gems now and just saving them up, that makes sense. I mean, we have a screen for that, right? We can see somewhere. I think there's supposed to be like a. I thought I could get a graph that like showed the over time how it goes up and down. But yeah, it doesn't feel like more than a year ago that it was down to like 160 gold or so, and it's gotten more expensive after Janthia released, but then it's gone down again. It was at around 200 at some point, but it's gone down again. I think, you know, it's one of those things that you could also, you know, look at over time. Get your own feeling for when you're willing to buy gems and when you think it's too much or too little. Yeah, but recently it's been very expensive. Was 230 during March sales. Woo! And I mean, that makes sense. A lot of people want to get extra value in during that time, and that means that more people are buying than selling gems. So you also see that same like rotation with things like the quartz crystals. Quartz crystals go on a cycle where every year you have the 4 festivals of the 4 winds where they fall to like 40 to 60 copper in value, and then they haven't gone up as much recently. I think they're only at 1.5 silver or so right now. Quartz crystal. Yeah, they haven't gone up probably recently, but they have. But they have previously, a couple of years in a row, hit 3 silver per quartz crystal, and that's still the standard in my head, and I don't think they will reach there again because it's almost time for the next festival of the 4 winds. So yeah, quartz crystal farming not as valuable as it once was. Still an easy way to park characters, and therefore one way I do it. Reformed Verith says yesterday night it was like 171 in EU. Don't know if there are different rates from different servers or regions. I don't know that either. I haven't actually thought about it. I'm also in EU, so I actually don't know whether it differs based on region. But yeah, I agree. 171, really good. And you know, you can spend a little bit of time when you're playing, just, you know, open up the currency exchange, just check, use this as your benchmark, use 400 gems for however much gold as your benchmark, because it's the same ratio, no matter, you don't save by buying more at once, it's the same ratio, and that's also true for the custom exchange. So buying 480 gems, for example, for 216, that's going to be the same exchange rate as if you were buying the 400 for 180. Just, you can get a feel for how it's moving recently by just checking it every time you log in. Just quickly do a little mental note, and over time you'll get a feel for it. I feel like gems are cheap enough that with the amount of gold grinding I do these days, I don't feel the need to check, even though it's valuable to do so. I just kind of buy stuff whenever I feel like it. These days, yeah. Getting a bit sloppy with it, I guess. Let's just see here. Go through these. Tier 3, love it. Tier 6, not really worth. Let's see what else we can get here. Oh right, new week, new grabby grab here. I think I was going to try to get rid of some of these. This is one of those screens that I haven't actually researched. I should probably check what the most valuable thing to exchange here is. I haven't done that, so don't take your cue from me here. I just looked at something that was overflowing in my inventory, and I haven't been able to really exchange. And, you know, I've just been using those. But, do your own research and stuff like that. Yep. I think the next thing up for us here is to do some.
Nice gear.
I'm actually closing in on the time I wanted to close off the stream, but I think I am going to do the daily End of Dragons and probably the other. Sveliset. Svelyset. Again, I don't know quite how to pronounce your name. You're asking, how do you feel about ANET and the future of Guild Wars 2? And honestly... Oh! Check. So, this is your the Twitch version of this is... I think I'm a bit in two minds about it, because honestly, I think Enid is doing decently. I am enjoying the story parts. Janthia Wilds for me was a big upgrade over Secrets of the Obscure, and I was worried during Secrets of the Obscure about how it would go, because they had ended their big, you know, the Dragon Saga and all of that. And I was worried about what that would spell for like the future of the game. And Secrets of the Obscure, they had to start a whole new story. They had to cut us off from our allies to make this secret organization that protected us from the mists and the wizards. And they had to do a lot of stuff to get going in that story. And that's, of course, that's always going to be difficult. It's always going to take a little bit of an extra to get over a big heroic saga having ended, right? Story-wise, if there was ever a time to either, you know, stop supporting the game or to say, okay, we're doing a Guild Wars 3 now because we want to capture, we want to, you know, end the story here and then go like from Guild Wars 1 to Guild Wars 2, going 100 years into the future and do an entirely new story set in the same universe, something like that. It would be the time to do it, and they chose to keep releasing expansions, which I think is the right choice. I think a lot of the player base would have gotten I think they would have lost a lot of player base for making a new game. But I think also, if they optimized mechanics and that actually made a technological difference, not only a story-wise difference, I think I would support a Guild Wars 3 at some point. But yeah, Secrets of the Obscure, I think, flopped a little bit. It wasn't as good as I could have hoped it would be. But Janthia Wilds has really picked it up for me. Frankly, I've really enjoyed the Janthia Wilds story. I've enjoyed the characters that were introduced and that I didn't really have a relationship to in Secrets of the Obscure get like introduced more properly to the world of Tyria, right? And have them like be integrated with some of my old characters that I've actually cared about because I've followed them for a couple of years. And yeah, that entire, I feel like Janthia Wilds has landed a lot of the story that felt up in the air. So story-wise, I think Guild Wars 2 is in a great place right now. I am excited to see what they're going to do as their next expansion. I am excited to see where the story is headed. I won't talk too many spoilers here because I know that a lot of my YouTube viewers, at least, are players who are newer to the game and might not have completed all of the story yet, which makes sense. I do a lot of guide content, so that's a lot of content that are mostly useful for people who haven't been playing, you know, since release. And but I like the story. I like the twists of the ending to the story without saying exactly what that was. And however, let's end that there. Let's end that rant there and then start the next rant. I don't think they're doing enough content. I think they should be I want a strike. I want 2 or 3 strikes every expansion, man. I want them to actually do as they were doing. To me, the golden age of content was I'm biased because I am more into strikes than I am into raids, for example. But in End of Dragons, when they basically just took some of the well-made story encounters and spruced them up into strike missions, I think that was a great thing to do. And I think they should do that every expansion. Technically, that's the same thing they've done in Secrets of the Obscure, right? They just had fewer of them. I always don't like fewer strikes. And in Janthia Wilds, we've had no strikes. None. They could have easily made, like in the very beginning of Janthia Wilds, in Lowland Shore, we fight Gria, I think the first Titan is called, very early on, and That's in a big arena. That's somewhere, and I know they use that for the meta event as well, but like, do that. Give me a strike of that. The thing is, Purple says, the thing is that such a high percentage of the player base has never done in-game content. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense. And I don't think that's a fault of Guild Wars. Again, I praised previously, and I will praise them again for this. I think Guild Wars is one of the best games at introducing mechanics before you fight them at the end boss. When we just did Fractals just now, and again, I'm so happy that they've done a new Fractal. I hope it lives up to the previous Fractals, because as you fight through a Fractal, you will meet a bunch of mechanics that the boss will then use on you, and that means that you have this escalating ladder. If any of you watch Just Strife Haze, he talks a lot about that in games in general, how important it is that you get introduced a mechanic, then you get introduced a new mechanic, and then you have to use both of those mechanics at the same time. And Guild Wars has always been great at doing this for their PvE content. They show you slowly and steadily how you do their content, and then they make you do it at a higher and higher difficulty level, with the boss being the most difficult. And I think that's great. They should do more of that. But I do get that they have to, of course, do content comparatively to what the player base will enjoy. And when they have a player base that mostly enjoys content from the, you know, the story content, doing meta events. I've been doing a lot of like small questionnaires over on YouTube, trying to get a feel for where people are. And when I asked people what they mostly did PvE wise, it showed exactly what you say, Purple. Like, I think it was 80% of people's answer was, I mostly do meta events. And then like 13% said strikes, and a smaller amount than that said fractals, and again smaller said raids, something like that. But yeah, the vast majority, I might not remember the numbers correctly right now, but the vast majority said, I do meta events, that's what I do. And I get that, because let's just open up our little looking for group thing here and check out, let's say, you know, I go to strike missions, I say experienced. Okay, this is not a bad group, Let's check out the Fractals of the Mist ones. Of course, when I'm not... yeah, here we go. This group asks you for 15k, and the thing that they are not even telling me what that 15k is, but that's 15k UFE, or I think it's Unstable Fractal Essence it stands for. Unstable Fractal Essence is it's basically kill proof for doing challenge mode fractals. You get 40 of them. Here they go. Unstable Fractal Essences. You get 40 of these, 40 or 60 of these for every challenge mode you complete, basically. So having to get 15,000 of those before you are allowed to join standard challenge mode. And this is the standard and not the exception that we have in this community, is that to ask for this, or when you're doing strike missions, a lot of people, not even necessarily because they're doing challenge modes, will ask for 250 legendary insights. Legendary insights, which is... Let's see if I can find my legendary insights here. I have 41 right now. Legendary insights, the primary way to get these are raids. And if you're not doing raids, you get one each week from the End of Dragons weekly meta achievement. Let me just find that for you. Weekly Cantha strikes. You can see if I do 4 out of the 5 strikes each week, I get 1 legendary insight added to my collection. And that 1 legendary insight is, I mean, basically what they were telling me. They were still asking for this. I just have to get this down again so that I again don't spoil my... There we go. back in End of Dragons, people were already asking for 250 legendary insights. No one is doing it right now, but they were asking for 250 legendary insights to join normal mode, a normal mode strike rotation. And that's just, you have to do, if at that point there were only this, you can also get them by doing challenge modes. You get one for each challenge mode you do, and you get some from the event in Secrets of the Obscure, if I'm not wrong. But basically, if you wanted to join a normal mode strike rotation, asking for 250 legendary insights, and you only got them from doing the content they asked you to do, you would have had to do 250 weeks of that. That's like 5 years. You'd have to do weekly rotations for 5 years. It's and I understand why people are doing this, right? I understand why we don't have any better way to vet people in Guild Wars. It's not, you don't have like a big achievement you can easily link and say, hey, look what I have. I'm good at the game, trust me. So I understand why people are doing this. I understand why people are vetting. I just think people are taking it to a little bit of an extreme, right? If you have a couple of legendary insights or a couple of kill proof in the Icebrute Saga would be the Bone Skinner. Drops these ritual vials that you get 9 of if you do it in the best time possible, and 3 in the next one, and 1 if you complete it but on the worst timer. And like, ask for 25 of those, or ask for like 3 or 5 legendary insights, or ask for 1 to 5 caches, and that will guarantee that most people that join you are experienced, semi-experienced if you want it. But what you should actually do is what I try to do whenever I do challenge mode strikes and the like. I like to link people to one of Muglok's Get to the Point videos and say, hey, you can join this if you either have some kill proof or if you go and watch this video before we start. Because it's okay to me, and I understand that, people don't have infinite gaming time, which means wiping too many times can get really frustrating. But usually, my experience as a person who generally don't gatekeep in quotation marks it's called in English, gatekeep my, that generally don't gatekeep my, I'm lacking the word for it. Gatekeep my groups, my squads is the word I'm looking for. I think, honestly, it's rare that I feel like we wipe at all. And when we do, it's mostly just once, maybe twice in the extreme cases. Once in a blue moon, I will get too many inexperienced people and people who take a long time to actually get, aren't actually necessarily ready to start these strikes. But it happens so rarely. Yeah, I generally think if we want more people to do the endgame content, I think the endgame content in Guild Wars 2 isn't actually super difficult. It is challenging, but it's not super difficult. Compared to, like, extreme trials in Final Fantasy XIV, where it's basically a dance you have to do every time. Or compared to the raw, like, damage output of plus 15 keys in World of Warcraft. I don't think it's unfriendly to newcomers, the endgame content in Guild Wars 2. And I think a lot of the reason that people haven't tried it is because we as a community are still struggling. There are a lot of great people trying to do this, but we as a community are still struggling to teach new players that they are welcome, that they can do it, and that they should just join up a squad. Join a squad, join someone, try it. It's gonna be okay. Even if you fail. The most important thing is you need to have a build. Find your build on Meta Battle or Snow Crows. If you don't have all the expansions yet, it's okay. Find a build that only requires the expansions you have. And if you are in doubt, Berserker's gear and find a power build and just fill it with Berserker's gear. That's going to be fine for you. As a DPS, you can easily make a build that's just requires the core expansion that uses Berserker's gear, and it's going to do fine. Not optimally, not the best you could ever do, but fine enough that you won't be a drag, that you won't be a pure liability to your team. And there are some things that you won't be able to get in there until you have some expansions. Especially, we have gotten in Secrets of the Obscure, we got the relics, right? But even without the relics, you're fine. You're good. You don't need ascended gear. You just need exotic gear. Reigned over. I'm going to find a. I think I've done enough walking in circles and explaining this. If anyone agrees or disagrees, I'd love to hear about it, and I'd love to continue this discussion. But I'm just gonna use a minute here to actually set up the squad so that we can get some strikes done. I think we're going to do the standard end of dragon rotation, and after that, I'm probably going to say thank you for today. I really want to get my YouTube video out. I have a YouTube video in the works that's at the end of the editing process, but I can see that we have 7 viewers just on Twitch, which is a lot of viewers for where I normally stand. So I kind of want to keep going. I'm having a couple of cool people chatting and, having a fun time. So I don't really want to stop, even though I planned to stop. You know how it is. Yes, we are going to go strike mission experienced. And I am going to call this group EOD Weekly Rotation. And then I'm going to mark out for people that I am going to say minus OLC, which means that we're not going to do the Old Lions code, we're going to do the other 4. Then the people I am going to ask for, and again, I'm explaining this in case some of you haven't set up your own groups before and you want to do it. It is as simple as this. And a nice trick. If you can afford the 300 gold for the commander tag, nobody questions the commander. You don't need any kill proof or anything. You can just be the commander. Be the commander, set up your own group. It's actually easier than you think. I am a quick DPS, so we'll only need 1 quickness, but we will need 2 healers, 1 for each of our 2 groups. We will need 2 alec gains, 1 for each of our 2 groups. The healers will fill either alec or quick as well, and 1 quick. And I'm going to make sure people know that this squad is being streamed over on Mook Chivalry. I feel like it's fair to warn people that they are going to be filmed, basically. Purple is mixed on it, and Tvelysel. I'm gonna call you Lysel now, because that's a Danish word. I recognize that. That it's kind of natural that people hate wiping, since it feels like a waste of... yeah, it does. It feels like a waste in these games. It always feels bad when you lose... yeah. Yeah, sure. And, if anyone watching wants to join for these, please feel free to. Just come on over. As long as you have a build, that's fine. You'll learn it. You'll learn it through experience, and it won't take long. If you join fast, I'd suggest spending some of the time... There we go. If you join fast, I'd suggest spending some of the time while waiting, watching some video on YouTube. Just write Mucklock stream, Mucklock get to the point, and then whatever strike. We are going to be doing 4 strikes in this squad. We are going to be doing the one that's called Sunlai Jade Junkyard, Kining Overlook, Ether Blade Hideout, and Harvest Temple. And nice Ice Kid Necro, a fellow Dane, joined the group here, and yeah, welcome. And this is an A heal. And so, the most important part, if you ever decide to command yourself, the most important part is you are keeping track of whether you have all the healers and all the DPS, boon DPS that you need. So in group 2 right now, I'm a quick DPS, and this joiner is an alacrity healer, which means we have both the quick and the alacrity and the healer we need in group 2. So now we just need one healer that gives a boon, either alacrity or quickness, and one DPS that gives the other boon for group 3. And once these groups fill up, as people join and as the groups fill up, your other most important role as a commander is to keep the good mood. I am of the firm belief that people perform better when they don't feel pressured. Even though you want them to perform well, you want to wipe as little as possible. I believe that you will wipe less if everyone feels that you are welcoming and that the group isn't judging every move they make, and that just keep it chill. If mistakes are being made, point them out, but point them out in like a, hey, I noticed that this and this is happening. Let's make sure to be aware of this mechanic happening. Let's say that somebody touches the healer's balls in it's not called End of Dragons, it's called Harvest Temple. There's a ball that you have to push with your auto attacks towards something. Usually you get the healers to do that. If someone gets that ball pushed the wrong way and it hits the wall, that makes a lot of that means we take a lot of damage. That means that we are doing, it's a bad time. If that happens, just write it out neutrally, hey, I noticed that we were messing up on this mechanic. The mechanic works like this. Let's try again. It's great. Go team. Throw a little heart in there. I like to do my hearts. That's an easy way to do. Perfect. Welcome. Can you do a boon heal and then switch the boon depending on the DPS that joins? Boop. Because then we got someone that said that they could fill, and if I can get them to fill the healer post and then just say one boon DPS. And this is because the healer is willing to go either alacrity or quickness. So I can just say boon DPS, and if it's a quick DPS that joins, I'll just have the healer go alacrity, and if it's an alacrity DPS, they'll just go healer. Me heal, me mesmer, so can't do any boon. Oh, welcome. I'll just... Now I have a full team of the things that I have, so I'm just pulling my group off the looking for group for a while, just to make sure that I have this sorted out. Can you do a heal, then Equoma, and then Lea go Q DPS. There we go. So we had two Mesmers that can join, and Mesmers, Chronomancer Mesmers can do both healing and DPS, and they can be both alacrity and they can be quickness. So they're the ultimate spec, if you don't mind the intricacies of Mesmer. But yeah, that's perfect. That means that I just need to fill up with DPSs, and then we'll be ready to go. I agree that KP is a problem, but at the same time, there's a lot of people that just don't really focus at all. The other thing is that some encounters get like 200% easier when you hit a certain damage check. And so even though I think that it's an issue to use KP and sometimes make group with KP for a ton of content. Yeah, I get that. I understand that. I don't think KP is bad in and of itself. I think that when we ask for 250 KP, it's more than is needed to ensure, competent people joining. And I think that most groups that ask for 250 KP, I'm gonna let you in on a secret here. So just lean closer, and I'm going to lean this way because this is where my microphone is. But many groups who ask for KP and ask for a lot of it are actually willing to let you in with less if you just join and link less and say, hey, I only have, 60 or 5 or whatever. Is it okay that I join anyways? A lot of them are going to be okay with that. So that's a secret between me and you. I don't like that because I mean, honestly, I'm probably autistic. And people like me, we don't read between social rules super well. Welcome all in group 1. Please go DBS all there. And I'll split you out. So that means that when the rule says you should have 250, but the social norm is that groups will generally accept people with less than that, that means that it makes the groups inaccessible for people who do have the experience and can do the content, but who want to also follow the rules that people set down for them. And it creates a culture where opportunism is rewarded, right? Where people breaking rules, or, you know, they're not really breaking them because, again, it's socially acceptable to ask that. So, but I think you know what I'm saying. I'm saying please ask for the KP that's reasonable and not for the KP that that you know that people who accepts that they can come in with less are probably also experienced people. But at the same time, I think that if you're one of the people, if you want to join something right now and you see a group that asks for 250, it's easy for them to kick you if they really want the 250. So just join with whatever you have and ask if it's okay. Because as long as that's the social norm, following it is, you know, just make sure that you aren't getting taken advantage of is a big claim. I don't think anyone is actually actively malicious or anything. I just think it's not productive. There's also the thing that repetition makes permanent, not perfect. So if you do a thing 60 times, but well, you will learn. If you repeat a thing 1,000 times but badly, you will still make the same mistakes. That is true. And again, we are 2 seconds. There's a guy who's not coming in. I'll just write this and then I'll respond to you, Verith. First Deadly, are you coming to Arborstone? This guy is joining us here. They just went into Shiver Peaks Pass. I'm just gonna say, we're not doing the IBS strikes, but have a good day. This is one of those times where sometimes people are just, you know, they're joining for something that they haven't really found out what actually is. And when that happens, you just have to find a new one. Boop. And a new guy joined us. We're putting them down here. True. Anyhow, yes, I agree that you can honestly slack your way through a lot of these, because they're not that difficult. If 1 or 2 people aren't pulling their weight, it isn't actually a big problem for completing them until you get to challenge mode, of course. And even, you know, some challenge modes aren't. Oh god. Hey Rexel, you need to come to Arborstone to do this strike. In Cantha. Oh well. And I think it's and that's one of those things where, again, someone who has actively taught themselves the fractal and then done it once or twice, or the strike and then done it once or twice, will likely outperform someone who's just been kind of chilling through them without doing anything, you know, for many times. And I think we'll give him 30 seconds more in case it's a long loading screen. Do. I am. Oh, what is he saying in party? Sorry, Rexel, we need to get this going. Please feel free to join in the future once you figure out how to get to Arborstone. And kick. And let's try this again. Woo! Third time's the charm. Strike mission experienced. Yeah, that's one of those things that also, I think it's good to be, especially when you're playing on EU servers, it's good to be a little bit patient with people who might not speak English as their first language. Give them the chance to discover that it is that they joined the wrong one. People who have actually I'm sorry. There we go. People who have actually read through that kind of stuff and have ended up joining anyways are generally doing well in the strike itself. So I say give them that chance, but you also have to keep things going. You can't wait for 70 billion years for some guy. Did this guy just join and log off? No, okay, they changed characters, it's good. They're in here, everything is good. Oh, nice. I was like, did we just get 3 in a row that didn't know what to do? Ugh. Awesome.
Wow. You just brought everyone
Refreshing.
home. We should finish this now.
That feels good.
Oh, right. Also, a couple of people over the last couple of streams have been asking me to make a Discord server that can be used to chill out and chat in. So I have done that, and I'm just gonna send the link to the Discord server here in both in YouTube and in Twitch chat. So if anyone wants to join that, feel free to pop on in to the Discord. Always good to have a little bit of a community and having a little bit of fun. I've made a bunch of different channels for different MMOs that we can chat in. I haven't actually decided what to do with it. I've just made one because people asked for it, and I will of course be active and chatting and stuff in there regularly if other people chat. Yeah. So this boss has a mechanic where she splits up into all of these phantasms, and this phantasm can't be damaged. It can only be crowd control, which means most of them you have to kill with damage, but this last one you have to kill with crowd control. Also, blue line. If you're targeted by that blue line, your screen will also be blue at the edges. You should move away from the party because you will drop that big, like, area of effect stuff. And that's annoying when that pops on top of the boss. The sniper. The sniper does this thing where there will be two damaging things. The sniper will make a straight line, and the entire floor will be covered except for 3 holes. The straight line will cover 2 of the holes. What you do is, you look where the sniper is, you go to the middle. I know it's a circle, but honestly it seems visually kind of obvious that there's a middle ground where you stand, like, on the same distance from the edge of the circle as the sniper does, but in the middle of that distance away from the center of the circle, on the opposite side, and there you will be... Oh, this is the one that has to do that. And that's the safe spot for that mechanic. And I pop in and out of my shroud too quickly, so I just dropped quickness for the entire group. That's one of those things where you have to decide what's more important, and I don't think I should have popped out of the shroud there. I give passive quickness as long as I'm in the shroud, and I want to be switching... Whoa. Here's where we want to stand. And I want to be switching in and out of shroud every 15 seconds to keep soul barbs up, which is a buff that gives me plus 10% damage whenever I switch. But that also means that if I go into my shroud, pop my 2 CC abilities and go out of shroud again immediately, I won't have stacked up enough quickness for it to wait while I'm out of the shroud and keep the uptime up.
You should finish this.
It's one of those things that you have to be aware of, and quickness for the entire group is probably more important than you doing a little bit of extra crowd control damage. So, don't be like me, is what I'm trying to say. If you go quickness, Harbinger, Necromancer, don't be like me. It's a kind of a simple build, you can easily do it, probably. Just don't do it the way that I do it. Just do it better. Be better than me. Oops. We lost the DPS, which means we're just going to plop you down. Click over here. And go here, and then say minus OLC and... what's the ether? There we go. That's the proper way to pronounce that. Yeah. People in the squad are understandably a little bit frustrated that someone joined for one strike and then left. I mean, I appreciate the way they left, because they said, you know, I have to go, and then they noted which role they had so that I knew what role to put up and look for another person in. Some people just ninja leave. They just sneak out the back door without saying that, and that's a lot of we're doing junkyard. Junkyard, overlook and harvest. There we go. And ready check. And we have a squad ready. Woo!
Eat my dust.
Another.
You'll be doing that one for days.
Honestly, I also like it when they do stuff like this. Anka is a Harbinger Necromancer. That's just... She has more abilities than you, because she does stuff that you can't do as a player, but still it's very clear that she is specifically playing a spec that exists in the game. And I find that super great. That's very enjoyable for me to meet as a player. I like bosses that can somehow, you know, it feels lore friendly, right? The other people who learn stuff learn the same abilities that we, the players, learn. That makes congruent sense to me. Oh no, everyone's running faster than me. I don't have a movement speed sigil. I'm not supposed to have a movement speed sigil in this. Oh, thank you, Mesmer.
Not enough energy.
Go.
Get up.
Strong.
In this phase, these can be either killed health-wise or they can be broken. Either of those two will stop them from health transferring to Anka. And the spiders will just die to the group CC. You don't need to focus on them. You can just click Anka, keep Ankaing, do all of that Anka stuff. Hey, do that Anka stuff. Do. That was an old reference. Sometimes I feel young and ready to take on life, and sometimes I feel like I should have begun using a cane a long time ago. Somebody stood in the bad stuff. It's okay. Again, this is not actually a challenging strike, and there's no like timer or anything. It's gonna be fine. We're one down. Whatever. I have set up a bunch of other specs, Purple. This is my go-to one, just because it's simple and nice, and I've played it enough that I don't need to focus too hard to do it decently. So it's my go-to spec, and therefore also the one I stream on, but I do have a fully set up Chronomancer Mesmer. I have a Ham, a heal alacrity mechanist. I of course have a different spec for Necromancer for when I'm doing player versus player. I have a I have an open world spec that is basically also a quickness necromancer, but that has all the minions, because you can get extra tanky with minions, and then you can give all your minions quickness. Really, really nice little combo.
Get up.
I have a Spectre Rogue. They're not named rogues, they're named thieves. I have a Spectre Thief. What else do I have? I mean, I have a max level of every class. Very few of them I have. I don't really have them because I am actually playing them. I just have them because at some point I had so many level up tomes that it felt like I should have them, and I should also fill out the character slots, because that means that I can park them in different places and get those daily parking rewards, and also the birthday gifts every year as the character has birthday. So, yeah. Harbinger is also your go-to content DPS. That makes a lot of sense. I will admit that when I am asked to pure DPS on my Harbinger instead of condition DPS, I cheat a little bit. The only thing I change in this entire build is that I take my quickness giving and then I put on Approaching Doom instead. That torments and weakens foes instead. It's a little bit cheaty, but it's also just, again, I would get a more, a better build if I was actually doing the difficult challenge modes or stuff like that on it. But for random, what are they called? Random striking and random fractaling, I find that, it does fine. Do.
Refreshing. I feel strong.
Should swap middle trade to bottom as well.
I can't do this alone.
Oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Stop the supporty. Everyone else gets bonuses and go more.
Sharper still.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'll do that in the future.
Usually I prefer to handle these matters in private. But as my dust, you could do worse.
Because of course a big part of having all of the potions shared to all of my allies is also that helps me keep uptime on my quickness. Because of my the ultimate potion. I need to stand on top of anyone. So this is another core mechanic in Guild Wars. He will hit different people. You can see that you gain a debuff when you get hit. That's called extreme vulnerability. That just means another hit of this same ability will kill you. And so it's very important that numbers don't stack and that other people don't, walk from one number to another number and get all of them hit at the same time.
You're mere pests in the way.
I represent Kantha's future.
Eat my dust.
An unknown number is calling.
This is the best part of the job.
May the sands.
I'll look at that later. They can probably wait a little bit. So this boss has a couple of different henchmen that you have to defeat. These have the gimmick that, well, you kill the ritualist first because he doesn't really have a gimmick, but the enforcer and the mind blade, they have to be tanked far enough apart. They will both focus people, and they have to be far enough apart to actually be damageable. So a good thing that you can see is happening right now is that the person targeted by the mind blade is pulling away the mind blade so that the enforcer and the ritualist can be AoE damaged at the same time without overlapping.
to be ostentatious now.
See, they got close enough to each other there, so I'm just gonna pull this guy away now. And then the tether here breaks, because they are now far enough away that you can damage them separately. Now someone else is pulling the Mind Blade over. You know, when I play games like this, this is one of the times that I'm happy that I'm left-handed, because reaching the zero skill, I have my hands on my keyboard. You know, my right hand is on my keyboard, and that means that I am actually moving it over to the left side of the keyboard. And that means that when I have to reach for the zero hotkey on my keyboard, it's my little finger that I'm stretching out.
Eat my dust.
Which is pretty great. You don't have anything bound to that? I mean, that makes sense. If I was right-handed, I would probably also hate having stuff bound up there. If I had to like really remove my hand to try to stretch out my thumb, and then yeah, I would probably not want to have anything bound to 6-0 either. But it's pretty easy to handle. Pretty easy to handle when you are, you know, when my fingers are naturally lying in the way that they're lying, so that it's not the thumb that has to somehow move up and over, but it's just the little finger that can move out. Sniper it feels like the sniper is kind of cheating by standing in the middle of the mech's laser, but
Rose in some deep trouble.
there's something in this that, if I recall correctly, and I'm not sure that I do, it is kind of important to have someone standing near the mech. I don't remember how to deal with this.
You'll be feeling that one for days.
I'm just gonna stand here, take a lot of damage. If I remember correctly, it's nice / important to have someone standing near the mech, because it deals less like devastating attacks when it has someone to melee attack. But of course you don't want one of the alacrity givers or quickness givers to stand near the mech instead of near the party, because you want them to be able to continue to give that buff to maximum amount of people.
I'll dispose of you myself, you scum.
This guy has a bunch of different mechanics, but it can be summarized in he will charge between the different corners of this map, and you want to have most people stand behind him, because when he's in a corner, he will make an AoE attack in the front of himself. But he will also mark an amount of people, like you can see all the circles. Those people have to move out in front of him, so that, because there's not space for all of those circles behind him, and they have to dodge roll at the right time to counter his big, like, push attack. And then he does the target 3 people, numbers shouldn't overlap, and you should not overlap with more than at most a single number.
One more thing for my list of accomplishments.
I concede.
You can never have too much treasure.
Okay. Last one for the day, and the one that many people would say is the most difficult one out of the End of Dragon Strikes. Mostly because it's a marathon, mostly because it's a very long, so there's a lot of opportunity during Harvest Temple to actually mess up, to do badly. There's a lot of times where it's easy to accidentally go, whoopsie, I just messed some mechanic up and, you know, got myself or the team killed. Whoa. Okay, big stretch, big stretch. Ah, that's good. Good times with big stretches. So, a quick thing about this strike. The healers will deal with moving the balls. And the rest of us will focus on scorpions. Don't touch the healers' balls until it's time to break them. Then CC away. It's one of my favorite little innuendos. Don't touch the healer's balls until it's time to break them. Did we just start? We are one person down.
We must cleanse that corrupted magic. Push it into the prismatic rift.
Let's click ready check. Woo! Just whew, I can feel my energy slowly going down. You know, I didn't plan on streaming this long, and it's been really fun, but I probably also at some point soon have to end it.
The cycle ends.
We must cleanse that corrupted magic. Push it into the prismatic rift.
No, it has one more left to go. Once it hits there, it'll be breakable. Break it. Break it.
Send it back. It worked. The dragon void is exposed.
There we go. And that was the first round of healer's balls.
Refreshing.
I will set you free.
Hello, Jormak.
Sand. Shield. Another.
Also, one of the things that this game does really well, honestly, dragons. The Elder Dragons are just so freaking awesome. I love them for being that big. I love them for being that scary. I love them for being... That's just... best dragons in MMO gaming. I'm sorry, Nidhogg and others from Final Fantasy. You are cool too. I do like your stories. But Guild Wars 2 has the best dragons. There, I said it. Big chomps. A couple of people didn't respect the chomps. Always respect the chomps. I honestly can't imagine that's comfortable. Like... yeah. Oh, right. Get missed. Imagine your primary way of attack was to take your chin and smash it down on the table. It just seems so unnecessary. Fralgatoric is probably the easiest of the Elder Dragons in here, because you just know that he is going to start by throwing 2 outer ones and then move into 1 inner one, and you can honestly just pre-move into them. Just never be in any sort of danger during this entire little section of the strike.
Sharper still.
Alright, it's time for the
Another corrupted ore. You know what to do.
Timecaster, and also another healer ball.
This void shall return to it.
A healer ball that we are not going to touch because we are not the healers. Instead, we're going to... basically, one of these melters will spawn every time the ball reaches a checkpoint, and if a melter reaches the ball, it will deal a lot of damage to the group. It won't be an instant wipe, like it oftentimes is if the ball reaches the edge. But it is a lot of damage. Also, these pools, a lot of damage. Yeah, here comes Mordramoth. Such a cool dragon. Oh. And Mordramoth, Mordramoth is probably one of the first ones that is actually dangerous in here, because he will target all of us with this, and at the same time you have to notice this in the middle and jump over it. So you have to split while you are noticing shockwaves and jumping them, and that is a difficult thing to do. You have to overlap attentions to 2 different things at the same time. Humans are notoriously bad at this. So, as you could also see, our group had a bunch of people fall down here. Yeep. I got feared. This is really bad. Ah. Yeah, I didn't notice that we had gotten far enough to move on to Saitan as the next one. Also a difficult one. These giants spit disgusting stuff at their feet, and they fear you, which, if it makes you run out over the edge, that is really dangerous. Let's dodge that. So there's a lot of things happening at once at the Saitan one. Until you've killed the Void Giants, they won't respawn, so it's just really annoying at the first part of it. But as soon as you have them down, you are ready to move on to the next part of this fight, basically. We have lost a couple of people here. That is unfortunate, but not game-breaking. We can still beat this. I'd say in most strikes, until you have challenge modes, until you have the timer on where you have to do it within a certain amount of time, I'd say no reason to DG unless you lose 4 of the people. If you lose 4 of the people and you aren't on the last, say, 20% of so health, it's going to take a lot longer to finish up. Is it oh, we are all moving the same direction here. Yes, it is time for the sword spray. And there is one more thing in this encounter that will trip you up and risk losing you the entire thing. It is not this ball, but after having fought this sword spray and then gotten the healers to... Oh, some of us touched that ball. It's not a good thing, because the healers need to get it under control and get it over here. Once we have fought Su-1, which will be the next dragon to, I think, half health-ish, a ball will spawn in the middle that we have to kill via damage, which is something that will take a decent amount of time. And that ball can't reach the edges either, which is pretty dangerous. And a lot of times, if there is a time to wipe, it's that time, and that's probably what makes this potentially one of the most frustrating strikes, because having already done about, you know, 80-85% of one of the longest strikes, and then losing because one of the hardest mechanics is at the end, can feel really bad.
Strong.
Jump. And again, you can see, just like Mordramoth, Su-1 also has a mechanic where they do something. And this is the part where you have to focus and concentrate. Just chill with it. Only auto attack. Because we would rather this die slower. I just broke my own rule. Whoa. Stop it here.
Strong.
Because we would rather take a little longer on this part than have to wipe on it. So the best idea here is to always just slowly auto attack it. We are trying to spread out so that we are hitting it. If you're not pogging, if you're doing this with an actual group that is very organized, you will just put down markers and you will stand 5 people on each side at exactly opposite sides to it, and you are going to be fine then. Because then you'll cancel each other out, and you won't have to deal with a lot of, like, a little bit pushing a little in this direction, a little bit in this direction, and then ending up being, yeah. There we go. We got it. And because we did the weekly, the weekly Cantha Strikes, we got the extra legendary shards. We got a bunch of bonus blue profit shards during this. And again, I suggest, if you're doing this for yourself, I would suggest you do it one at a time, because you can do the daily. So Kining Overlook would be the daily today, but do the daily one and do it 4 days out of the 7th of the week to just slowly get that bonus stuff. I am ignoring people because I'm ranting. I am not going to do Icebrute Saga today, but it has been a joy. I will be back the same time as now next week. So at 3 o'clock my local time. It's 3 hours ago I started the stream. Same time I will start next week. And I will have a YouTube video up hopefully later tonight. Maybe not until tomorrow. For my guide series about daily and weekly vendors and which ones are great and which ones you can ignore. You know, follow, like, subscribe, do the YouTube thing, do the Twitch thing, do all of those things. And thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you all have a great evening. And it's been a joy. It's been fun chatting with you all and fun playing with you all. And see you again